Your body is not broken, your body is at war with you, and it is winning. Because right now, as you read this, your metabolism is quietly sabotaging every single diet you have ever tried. Not because you lack willpower, not because you are lazy, but because 200,000 years of evolution wired your brain to treat weight loss as a threat to your survival. And today we are going to break down exactly why your body fights so hard to keep weight off, the biology, the hormones, and the psychology behind it. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you will understand your own body better than 90% of people in the gym, and more importantly, you will know exactly what to do about it. Let's start with the concept scientists call the set point theory, which basically says your body has a preferred weight range that it will defend almost like a thermostat. Defends room temperature, so when you drop below that range through dieting, your body doesn't just sit back and accept it, it actively fights back. And this fight happens on multiple fronts at once, starting with your metabolism itself. Because when you cut calories, your body doesn't just burn fat and move on. It goes into a state researchers call adaptive thermogenesis, which means your metabolic rate drops lower than what your new, smaller body weight would actually predict. So if a calculator tells you that you need 1,800 calories to maintain your current weight, after weeks of dieting, your body might actually be burning closer to 1,500, even though your weight and activity levels suggest otherwise. And this is not your imagination. This is not a slow metabolism you were born with. This is your body deliberately becoming more efficient, because from an evolutionary standpoint, calorie restriction looks exactly like a famine. And your body has one job during a famine, which is to keep you alive as long as possible. So it slows down your thyroid function. It reduces the energy your organs use. It even makes your muscles more efficient, so they burn fewer calories doing the same work, all so that you survive on less fuel. And this is brilliant if you're stranded on a deserted island, but it is absolutely brutal if you're just trying to lose fat for summer. Now let's talk about the hormones running this entire operation behind the scenes, starting with leptin, which is often called the satiety hormone because it's produced by your fat cells, and it tells your brain, specifically your hypothalamus, that you have enough energy stored and you're safe. But here's the problem. When you lose body fat, your leptin levels drop. And when leptin drops, your brain interprets this as a danger signal. Not because you're actually starving, but because low leptin has historically meant low-fat stores, which historically meant impending famine. So your brain responds by cranking up hunger, slowing your metabolism, and literally making food thoughts more intrusive and more rewarding. And at the same time, your body increases production of ghrelin, which is the hormone that makes you feel hungry, so you end up in this cruel biological trap where the leaner you get, the hungrier you become, and the fewer calories you burn at rest, which is exactly the opposite of what you'd want if your only goal was fat loss. And this is why so many people can white-knuckle a diet for 2 or 3 weeks and then suddenly find themselves standing in front of the fridge at 11 at night, eating everything in sight. It's not a character flaw. It is leptin and ghrelin working exactly as evolution designed them to work. And then there's cortisol, your primary stress hormone, which gets elevated not just from life stress, but from the stress of dieting itself, from sleep deprivation caused by hunger, and from the psychological pressure of constantly restricting food. And chronically elevated cortisol does several unhelpful things. It promotes fat storage, particularly around your midsection. It increases cravings for high-calorie, high-sugar foods because your body wants quick energy to deal with perceived threat, and it can even cause your body to hold on to water weight, which is incredibly demoralizing when you step on the scale after a hard week of dieting and see no change, or even a slight increase. So now you're dealing with a body that is metabolically fighting you, hormonally screaming at you to eat more, and stress-wise storing more fat. And this is before we even get into the psychological side of things, which honestly might be the most powerful force of all. Let's talk about the psychology, because your relationship with food isn't just physical. It's deeply behavioral and emotional. And one of the biggest reasons diets fail long-term is something called the restriction binge cycle, where the more rigidly you restrict a food, the more your brain fixates on it. This is a well-documented psychological phenomenon, sometimes called ironic process theory, where trying not to think about something actually makes you think about it more. So when you tell yourself you can never eat sugar again, sugar becomes the only thing your brain can focus on, and eventually willpower runs out. Because willpower is not an infinite resource. It's more like a muscle that gets fatigued throughout the day. Decision fatigue is real, and every time you resist a craving, you're spending mental energy. And by evening, after a full day of decisions at work, in relationships, and in life, your prefrontal cortex, the rational decision-making part of your brain, is exhausted. And that's exactly when your more primitive, emotional brain takes over and says, just eat the cookie. And you do. And then comes the guilt. And here's the trap. That guilt often triggers even more emotional eating. Because food isn't just fuel to your brain, it's comfort. It's dopamine. It's a reward system that's been reinforced since childhood, so when you feel like a failure for breaking your diet, your brain seeks the fastest available source of relief, which is often more food, and this creates a shame spiral that has nothing to do with discipline and everything to do with how human psychology actually works. On top of all this, there's also something called muscle memory and fat cell behavior that makes this even more complicated. Because research shows that fat cells don't just shrink when you lose weight, they can also send out their own signals to the brain begging for more energy. And after weight loss, many of these fat cells remain primed and ready to refill quickly, which is part of why so many people who lose weight through crash dieting gain it all back within a year or two. Sometimes with a little extra, and this isn't a personal failure. This is documented in long-term studies on weight regain, including research on contestants from extreme weight loss competitions whose metabolisms remained suppressed years after the show ended, proving that this metabolic adaptation can persist far longer than most people realize. So now you might be thinking, okay, this all sounds hopeless. My body is basically designed to keep me fat forever, but that's not the full picture. Because understanding these mechanisms is actually the first step to working with your body instead of against it. And here's what the science actually supports. First, slower fat loss preserves metabolic rate far better than aggressive crash dieting. Aiming for around 0.5% to 1% of your body weight loss per week keeps your hormones and metabolism much more stable than trying to lose fat as fast as possible. Second, resistance training is non-negotiable during a fat loss phase because it sends a signal to your body that this muscle tissue is being used and needs to be preserved, which helps prevent the metabolic slowdown from being as severe. And this is honestly one of the biggest advantages bodybuilders have over people doing pure cardio-based weight loss, because building and maintaining muscle literally protects your metabolism. Third, prioritizing protein intake, somewhere around 1 gram per pound of body weight or close to it, helps preserve lean mass and also happens to be the most satiating macronutrient, meaning it fights back against the hunger hormones we talked about earlier. Fourth, incorporating diet breaks or periodic maintenance phases. Even just 1 or 2 weeks eating at maintenance calories every 8 to 12 weeks of dieting has been shown in research to help restore leptin levels and reduce the psychological burden of prolonged restriction, giving both your hormones and your willpower a chance to recover before continuing. Fifth, sleep is massively underrated in this entire equation because poor sleep directly disrupts leptin and ghrelin balance, meaning one bad night of sleep can make you hungrier and less satisfied by food the very next day. So protecting 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep is genuinely one of the most powerful fat loss tools available, and it costs nothing. And finally, from a psychological standpoint, flexible dieting approaches where no food is completely off limits and moderation is prioritized over total restriction have consistently shown better long-term adherence and less binge eating compared to rigid all-or-nothing diet rules. Because when you remove the forbidden fruit effect, food loses its psychological power over you. The real takeaway here is that your body isn't fighting you because it hates you. It's fighting you because it loves you too much. It's trying to protect you using survival mechanisms that were incredibly useful for most of human history when food scarcity was a genuine life-threatening danger. But in a modern world of calorie surplus and convenience food, those same protective mechanisms work against your goals. And the people who succeed long-term aren't the ones with superhuman willpower. They're the ones who understand these biological and psychological systems well enough to work with them. Through smart training, adequate protein, enough sleep, sustainable calorie deficits, and a flexible mindset instead of a perfectionist one. So if you found this breakdown valuable, make sure you're subscribed because next week we're diving into exactly how to structure a diet break to reset your metabolism and your hunger hormones. Drop a comment letting me know what topic you want covered next, and I'll see you in the next video.